Well, I'll say this. We have exactly one shot to defeat Donald Trump.
Pete Buttigieg in the Beehive State.
I see among the people that I've met in Utah that same appetite for change.
Hundreds of Utahns wait in line to hear from the Democratic presidential candidate.
Voters' lives are shaped by the decisions made in Washington.
His message to voters ahead of Super Tuesday.
Well, people waited in line for up to 5 hours today to get a chance to hear from presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg.
The Democrat from Indiana is hoping to convince Utahns to vote for him in just 2 weeks. Mayor Pete, as he's known, drew a big crowd. Dozens piled into the Union Event Center while a long line wrapped around the building outside. We do have team coverage of tonight's big event. Jeremy Harris spoke with people who attended.
That's right. But first, though, we want to go to Heidi Hatch. She actually spoke one-on-one with Pete Buttigieg today. Heidi?
Well, Mark, visits from presidential candidates here in Utah have been rare for decades, and the crowds we saw tonight are proof that Utahns want to be a part of this conversation in a way they haven't been a part of in years past. When I talked one-on-one with Pete Buttigieg before he took the stage tonight, I talked about one of the issues that could be concerning or something that people are thinking about here in Utah. He could be the first candidate for the Democratic Party, if he were to get the nomination, to not only be openly gay but married. This just 2 election cycles after both Democrats and Republicans were both vehemently against gay marriage.
I'm glad to be here to have that conversation and to invite people to think past old habits and old harms and be ready to accept and see one another for who we are. And I see so many people who may be struggling with how to relate their faith and their identity on that journey together.
Now, the question on the minds of many, also in a state with only 6 delegates and a majority of Republicans, why did he make a stop in Utah to talk with voters about his vision for America?
I know how it is to be a Democrat in a red state. I'm from Indiana, and I see among the people that I've met in Utah that same appetite for change. And a lot of folks, not just fellow Democrats, but a lot of independents and even some Republicans who are wondering whether they can continue to be on board with what's going on in this White House.
Now, Buttigieg told me he's hoping to pull from the overwhelming support that Bernie Sanders had with Democrats in Utah in 2016. He believes his appeal is his progressive ideas without going so far left as to alienate voters. He says many are wondering how he's made such a surge in the first 2 states in both Iowa and New Hampshire. When I was talking with him tonight, you can see why people like with him. He connects with them when he talks to him. He's charismatic and he's kind when you talk to him. The question now, can he keep up what he has going in the first 2 states? Super Tuesday, a big test for him here in Utah and many other states. Mark and Shauna.
All right, remains to be seen. Heidi, thank you so much. We continue our team coverage of tonight's events with Jeremy Harris. He was live at the event. Jeremy, hundreds of people waiting a very long time to get in.
Yeah, and Shauna, the campaign's putting the estimate of how many people were here into the thousands. Things have just wrapped up here in the Union Event Center. You'll be able to see this was the stage where Pete Buttigieg addressed a really energetic crowd. There was a lot of people here with Pete signs. There was also a lot of the political folks here from Utah that were in the audience. We saw District Attorney Sim Gill, several state representatives, and a surprise endorsement from Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall. Now, the Union Event Center was really filled to capacity. I would not be surprised if there was a long line of people outside waiting to get in, even filling the venue past capacity if they could. Now, Pete, when he came out, there was a lot of energy. There was a lot of cheering for him. And his message was what we've seen from him before in the campaign. He did address Utah. He praised Mitt Romney for Mitt Romney's vote to remove President Trump from office during the Senate trial. And he tried to basically connect with some of the Utah voters. Those who we spoke with say he did.
I just want him to convince me that it's the absolute right choice to vote for Pete in this election cycle.
In a country that's so divided, we need someone who has that crossover appeal to Republican voters as well to really heal this country.
And that was one thing Pete Buttigieg even talked about tonight, was saying that in Utah, he not only wants to attract a wide range of the Democrats, but also he was going for some of the Republicans who may be willing to switch over in this election. Now, it's important to note, it is unique and perhaps interesting that Utah is getting some political attention. We know we have a visit scheduled for Mike Bloomberg later this week, and perhaps other candidates will be eyeing the state of Utah as well, in addition to Pete Buttigieg. And obviously our neighbors next door in Nevada, they're going to be a very important political target. So it is unique and important to note note that Pete Buttigieg was here in Utah at a critical time in his campaign. Back to you.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much. Pete Buttigieg has been endorsed by a few Salt Lake County officials, including Mayor Jenny Wilson, former Mayor Ted Wilson, as well as District Attorney Sim Gill.